In this video, I'm going to give you a specific plan to follow when you transition out of the military so you get the job you want instead of the job you must take. It's a 6-month scenario, but you can go as fast or as slow as you need to go based on your specific needs. What's important is that you follow the elements in the order that they're presented so that you can build a foundation for life after the service. So over the past few weeks, you've seen videos about foundation, building a foundation, setting goals, developing different strategies, and creating an action plan. And in this video, I'm going to give you a specific action plan that starts 6 months out before you transition all the way till J Day. We're going to call that Job Day. And we're going to walk you everything you need to do to get ready for that day. So when you transition, it's a very smooth process, not something that a lot of us go through. We're jumping through hoop and we have to take a job that we just have to take. It's not the one we wanted, but it's the one that was the only one available for us, and we felt we had to take it because we lacked a plan. We didn't have the specifics that I'm going to share with you. So let's go through the plan for you to transition out of the military and arrive on J Day with the job you want to have when you transition out of the service. We're going to go through a process which is 188 days out, about 6 months, 120 days out, 90 days out, 60 days out, 30 days out, 15, 5, 3, and then actual J Day when you start your job. Let's go ahead and start about 6 months out, 180 days, and let's see what we need to do. First thing you want to do is build a foundation. We talked about that in the video, build a foundation, and it goes through the steps you need to go through to understand how to create a foundation that you can build your life after the service. Every building must have a foundation, and specifically what you want to do is have a purpose. What is your new purpose after the service? You want to have assets. What are your assets? What do you have? Not just physical assets like property. We're talking about your intellectual assets, your experiences, your skills that you can bring to the table for an employer. What can you do? What are your assets? You need to set your goal. Specifically, what is your goal? Is it to have a job in a location? Is it to have a specific salary? Is it to have a specific job? Location, salary, and job. What exactly is it that you want? Because you will have to exchange certain things to achieve any one of those results. If it's a specific location, you may have to take a lower salary than you're expected, or you must make a higher salary than you need to just to afford to live on that economy in that area. Or if it's a specific job because you have a career plan on where you're going to go. So location and salary doesn't matter because that job is the experience you want to get that foothold into that industry and build your career. And then you want to choose a strategy. Well, I'm going to just tell you a strategy. Don't worry about all the other strategies. They'll kind of build on each other. The first one you want to look at is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the strategy you want to start with. Building your LinkedIn profile, building your resume, building the information. You want to go through training. LinkedIn is probably your best source of training for LinkedIn. Just say, hey, training for LinkedIn. Go to the little help area up there. It'll tell you how to set up a profile, how to do everything you need to do on LinkedIn. Plus, we have training at supplychainmanagement.jobs that you can take to better understand LinkedIn and different strategies, which we'll talk about during this presentation. Now that you've done that, that's 180 days out, about, what we got here, about another 30 days, so about a month to kind of put all that together. You're about 120 days out, or 4 months out of J Day. This is when you're going to start to create your action plan. Specifically, you want to understand what tasks you need to achieve. And the task you need to do first is research. What is the job, salary, location available for your purpose after the service? Your resume. You need to start to tailor and craft that resume for the job you want to have, translating your experience into the vocabulary of the job you want to get. And then start to build your profile. Specifically, when it comes to building your profile, you need to have a picture, a very professional picture with a suit and tie, a business attire, something that reflects you. It's not your Facebook picture where you're like, hey, what's up? It's like, it's a very professional, because this is the first impression they're going to have of you. No matter how they start to get to know you, whether it's through LinkedIn, a resume in a job data bank, or something else, that picture is going to say this guy's serious or this guy's a clown, one or the other. So make sure you have a very good picture that reflects what you want people to see. Just think of it as the first time you walk through the door, that's what they see. That's that picture right there. Keywords. The keywords for the job you want to have after the service. What are those keywords? Supply chain management. Procurement. That's a buyer. That's the word. Procurement, buyer. Contract management, vendor manager, warehouse manager. These are different words that all explain different things in supply chain management. So you need to translate that into words that they understand. How do you do that? You go to the job descriptions on the job boards. That's where you learn what things that they're using for those job descriptions and translate your experiences into those words. Connections. Start to look at your connections, and you want to make sure your connections are specific. In the right industry you're trying to achieve, the right location you want to go to, the right company or companies, types of companies that you want to look for or be part of, and then specific jobs that you want to have. In other words, you get to model their job. You can find out what industry, what are the companies in that industry, where are they located, or if you're looking for a specific location, what companies are in that location, right? What jobs do they have at those companies, and do those jobs fit my skill set? And where I lack the experience or the skills, now I need to identify the training I need for those skills so that I can talk about it. Even though I'm new to this industry or new to this job field, I have the skills, I have the training, I can show you this, and I can show you that with a certification. Right? A certification we talked about, something you get through Army Ignited. One that we offer is a certified professional supply management, which translates you into a professional supply manager. We have specific training on that, and you can get the Army to pay for that through the Army Ignited program. So again, you're 6 to 4 months out and you want to start getting these certifications done. Your schedule. What's the schedule for doing this? About 1 hour 3 times per week. You need to dedicate 1 hour executing these specific tasks 3 times a week. Okay, and I say don't do 3-hour blocks. Do 1 hour, a lunchtime, an evening before watching TV or going out with friends. One focused hour where you do specific things to help you build for that job after the service, so you get the job you want, not the job you must take. And please understand the difference. There's one you must take, which is, hey, this is the only offer I got because I didn't plan, or the one that you want to take where you've gone through these process, gone through these steps, and now you're looking at the right location, the right job, and the right salary that you need to transition out of service. So dedicate a time 1 hour per week 3 times a week. Now, how do we measure our progress? First thing in the beginning is going to be done or not done. Have I set up a LinkedIn profile? Have I done my resume? Have I gotten a picture? Yes or no? It's simple. Done or not done. Then once you have your profile set up, you're looking at views. You go into LinkedIn and say, who's viewed my profile? Who's looking at your profile? Watching that, okay? Seeing, okay, are people looking at my profile? Which means you have keywords in your profile that are attracting people to look at you. LinkedIn is going to kick in. They're going to show your profile to people with common interests, common things that you have in your profile. So if you're in supply chain management, it's going to show you to other supply chain management professionals. If you're in logistics, it's going to show you to other logistics professionals, and you're going to start to build connections. They're going to recommend people connect with you. They're going to give you recommendations for people to connect with. So you want to start looking at those views and connecting with people. Again, go to LinkedIn training to learn how to do this and get the most from LinkedIn. Then once you start looking at views, how many messages are you starting to get? Are they asking you for your contact information? Are they asking you for your resume? Or most importantly, are they asking, when are you available? You having your online profile in the Army transitioning, and they're just going to say, when are you available Do you have a resume? Contact information, because they have a timeline. And if you go back to looking at your strategies, you'll see that there's a timeline for hiring people. Usually it's about 3 months. They'll put a position out there, and within 3 months they want to have it filled. So if you're, that's why this window of about 4 months out is kind of perfect to have all this set up. Right now you want to start to get people to know you and make sure that it's right. Of course, your resume. We talked about your resume a little bit earlier, keywords and research, and then your social media profile. So at 120 days out, about 4 months, you need to have these things done. Does that make sense? Done, not started, but done. If you haven't done them yet, that's okay. You're gonna condense this timeline from 180 days down to 90 days, and you're gonna take all these steps and you're gonna move them up. All right, you're just gonna move them into an earlier process. You don't have as much time between things. Instead of dedicating 3 hours per week, you may have to dedicate 6 or 10 or 20, depending upon where you're at in your transition. You're gonna set this up. Now we're going to a 90 days out. At 90 days out, you want to start to communicate what's going on. You want to communicate to your connections, your network, focusing on your goal. Remember, in the foundation, what's our goal? Job, location, company. Job, location, company. What is my goal? So when you're networking, have that in mind and create focused connections on this goal. Are they in the right industry? Are they at the companies I want to work for? Do they have the job that I want to have? So focused connections. They add value to what you're trying to achieve. They have a hiring decision authority, or they have influence on getting you that position that you want to have. Do they have insight on how to get there? And are they adding value, and can they help you? All right, and it's nothing wrong with that. That's one of the things that we struggle with most coming out of service is asking for help. And that's what you need to do. Ask for people. That's why you're on the social media platform and you're on LinkedIn for professional connections. This isn't Instagram or Facebook or any of these other social networks. You're on a professional social network where it's all about getting a job, adding value, and building value. Building value. So you get to ask, say, hey, you have the job I want. How'd you get involved in this job? Right? How did you do this? What has been your career path up to this point? What could I expect? Where should I expect to start? Asking questions of connections, right? Do you know somebody that can help me get the job I'm looking to get when I get out of the service? Talk to your family, your friends, your colleagues in the Army, contractors that you're working with, and civilians that you're working with. This is all part of your assets, right? When you built your assets, when you built your foundation at the 180-day mark and you're doing your assets, what do you know? Your skill sets. Your connections are also assets. You need to list those out. Who do I know in the Army that's transitioned out and is at a company that I want to work with? Who are the contractors I'm in connection with day in and day out? Are they at a company that I want to work for? Right? Civilians in the civilian world, maybe you want to transition into a government job, or they know people in places where you want to go, at companies you want to work. So as part of your list of assets, you want to identify these colleagues and start to build similar colleagues on LinkedIn. And you want to start to apply. This is where you want to get serious. And it doesn't mean blast your resume out to a gazillion people. That was a mistake I made. I can honestly admit. I just like blasted out more numbers. It's a math problem. And the thing is, it wasn't a math problem because I was blasting it out, but it was noise. It was a TV in the middle of the night. It was a radio static. It was nothing because I wasn't using the right keywords. It wasn't a focused resume on a specific job. It was just blasting it out there, and people don't have time for that. So now you want to apply. Based on the research, the company, the position, you're now tailoring your resume specifically for that position. The words in that job description need to reflect in your resume, translating your experiences into the job skills they're looking for in your resume. Now, I'm not saying make things up. Okay, if it doesn't apply, you don't have the experience, you don't have the experience, but translate it. And I can help you create translations, show you where those connections are, identify those keywords to help you tailor your resume for that position. Use an example. I was just an infantry squad leader. I have no idea what supply chain management has to do with. That's not true. As an infantry squad leader, you had to plan patrols, logistic support for those patrols, whether that was a 3-day patrol, 10-day, or 30-day patrol. You had to plan that supply chain to support that patrol. Right? You had to identify requirements. One of the first things you do in any supply chain. What's the requirement? You had to fill those requirements. Where do I get the stuff? Sourcing. I have to move that stuff to my location. That's logistics. I have to make sure I have enough. Inventory management. And when I run out, I have to tell somebody. Warehouse management. Communicating that and managing that entire supply chain to support a patrol infantry. Now you need to translate that experience into the words they're looking for, the words I just used. For example, now at supplychainmanagement.jobs, we have career counselors that can help you understand your experiences and translate those experiences into what you're looking for on the civilian side. And you want to make sure you take the time to do that. But now you want to apply, tailoring your resume and submitting it. Do the research as I mentioned. Your assets, use the right keywords, and align your experiences with those positions. Make sure you remember your goal, right? Your goal, job, location, salary, job, location, salary. Which one helps you achieve your long-term goal? Identify the specific company you're trying to work for, the connections connected to those companies. And it's not asking for a job. Okay, it's not going to say, hey, I see there's jobs opening in your company, help me. It's like, hey, I see there's a position open at your company. This is the specific job. Can you look at my resume and see if I would qualify? What am I missing in my resume? Do you know someone you can hand my resume to and see if I can get a phone call with them to share my experiences to better understand this? I'm coming out of the service. Can you help me transition properly into the civilian world? Everybody wants to help a veteran. Everyone says so anyway, right? They always say thank you for your service. Well, now you're going to say, I was appreciated, it was my life, I served my country. Now I need your help to transition into the civilian world and become a productive member of the civilian world. So you have to ask, identify your connections and ask the questions. Looking at LinkedIn, looking at your network, family, friends, colleagues, and letting people know that you're available and starting to look for a job. Apply the application. You can apply at the company website. All right, that's where you go to their website, go to their career board, and you submit your resume in accordance with their procedures. You may have to submit your resume and then copy and paste that entire resume into their database. Why? How does this work? They take your resume, those keywords, and they're sifting it just like Google's keyword search. Those hiring managers said, I need these skill sets, those keywords. That's why it's important to have your keywords for that job position in your resume. They go there and they spit out a bunch of resumes that have those keywords, and then they start to go through them and look at the requirements. Experience, right? Job skills, things that have happened in the past that you can translate to those jobs. So it starts to look at that. And that's what the HR people, these people don't have anything to do with the position. You haven't even talked to the hiring manager yet. You put your resume in, they do a keyword search, an HR professional goes through and all they have is an order. Say, I need a person that does this. And they're looking at the menu. They're looking at the table of all the people that have these skills inside their resume, inside their data bank. And if you don't have those keywords, you're not going to pop. Okay, so follow the company's procedures. You may have to apply on LinkedIn. Sometimes that's an option. You go to LinkedIn, it says apply here, and it'll take you either to the job site or they'll take your LinkedIn profile and they'll just suck it in. And then you need to edit that LinkedIn profile to the job skills that they're looking for in that position. I'll say that again and again. Translate your experiences into their words that they're using. If you need help with that, let me know. And respond. Respond to connections. When they say, hey, when are you available? Give them an honest answer. If you're going to take 30 days leave and go off and travel around the world before you start your new life, just say that, okay? And that should be part of your plan. You've been in the service for 4 years, working probably 24/7, 365, no break, doing things that people can only imagine unless you're in it, okay? And you want to take 30 days to do nothing. All right, but that's okay as long as you have a plan where that 30 days is J day, right? Job day. So talk to your connections, let them know what's going on. Talk to and ask for help. Ask for help. Tell people what you want, Okay, tell people what you want and follow up. So when it comes to connections and communicating as you're transitioning out of service, ask. Ask for help, ask for information, ask for assistance. When you get into sales, okay, you know, I'm not going into sales. I don't want nothing to do with sales. Sales is crazy. You're selling yourself right now. You are in sales whether you think so or not. And the first thing they teach you in sales is going with the ask. What are you asking for? What do you want? And they tell them. Just tell them. You don't have to come up with fancy words. Just, I want a job doing this, and these are my career goals. This is my job, my life after the military. Okay, tell. So ask and tell. Ask people for help. Ask people for information. Tell them what you want them to know. Tell them what you want them to know, and follow up. Okay, follow up with an email, with a phone call, with a message on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a fairly safe world where people are going to connect with you because they can block you if you become annoying, right? At the same time, they can connect you with other people if what you have to say is valuable. So follow up. Again, use LinkedIn. Email, follow up with email, phone calls, in person. Okay, connect on the social media, exchange email addresses, start to do email back and forth, then call, and then arrange an in-person conversation. Now we're at 60 days. Okay, all that was 90 days. We've done 180, 120, 90. Now we're at 60 days out, 2 months out. Start to go to job fairs. This is where you're in that 90-day window. Job fairs, hey, I'm here, what's available? Remember your goal. So when you go to the job fairs, you're going to look at the schedule, location, where are they, when are they, plan your time appropriately. If you need to take leave, take leave. If it's a weekend, it's a weekend. If it's virtual time, make sure you plan appropriately, schedule it, okay, and then prepare for a job fair. When you're preparing for a job fair, what do you need to do? Make sure your resume is tight. By this point, you know the kind of jobs you want to have. You know the key words inside those jobs, and your resume should start to reflect that translation between your military skills and the job you want to have. So your resume needs to start to get tight and be easy to read. Remember, it's one page resume. Do your research for the companies that you're going to have at the job fair. Do they help you? If they're not a company you want to work for, don't go to the job fair. Your appearance, and then rehearse. Okay, rehearse first impression. You're going to the job fair, you got your resume, you've done your research, you know who you're going to meet, you're dressed for the day. You have a suit, business attire on, you may have a tie on, you're always clean shaven, fresh haircut, looking sharp. First impression. You're going to meet the parents of the love of your life. First impression. Okay, rehearse. Put on those clothes. Make sure that suit fits. All right. Greeting. Hello, my name is Randy Malden. I've been in the service for 20 years and I want to have a job at your company doing XYZ. You've done your research. You know what you're asking for. They're immediately translating. They're looking at you. They're making first impressions. They're making decisions about your look. Is he confident? Does he know what he wants? Or is this guy just fishing? Is this somebody I can actually work with? A greeting. Hello, how are you? Go right there. Questions. What questions are you going to ask? Okay, and how are you going to respond? Both. Okay, questions. They're going to ask you questions. Great, Randy. Glad you're here. So glad to meet you. We are looking for a supply chain manager that does XYZ. Is that something you have experience doing? Absolutely. I was in the quartermaster corps. I was a supply officer. I was a logistics officer. I did these things. You already know what words to use because you did your research. You know what's in those job skills. You're not throwing spaghetti against the wall hoping it sticks, right? Instead, you have very specific phrases that you know work. Okay, so you're going to have that response and practice. Get with your buddies in the barracks, get with your mom and dad, get with your spouse, get with your partner, whoever it is, and rehearse. Say, hey, I want you to be the person I'm going to meet, and get honest feedback. How do I look? Do I look good? Or how do I sound? Do I sound confident? Do I sound not confident? Am I going in a squeaky mousy voice, or am I coming out too strong? And there's a good point right there. Am I coming out too strong, too confident? Some people will say, you can't be too strong, you can't be too confident. You need to meet the energy that's on the other side of the conversation. Okay, so if they're coming out and they're confident but poised and strong, but not loud and overbearing, then there's a difference between the two. Does this make sense? Because if you're loud and overbearing, that may mean that you're not as confident as you really are. So you're trying to make up for it through your voice and trying to mean overbearing. Confidence, poised, focused. Confidence, poised, focused. Have that rehearsal. Ask those questions. Respond. Then have questions to ask. Well, hey, what's the hiring window when you have a position available? What should I expect? I'm 3 months out. Is this a likely window? It's like, well, no, actually, 30 days is more likely when we're going to extend you an offer. Okay, what do I need to do next? Okay, ask for information. And it's okay. That's what you're there. Have answers ready to go. Okay, prepared. Questions to respond to, questions you're going to ask, answers you have ready to go. Phone interviews, same thing. Okay, you're going to schedule them. Once you schedule them, you're going to rehearse. Hey, I'm talking to company XYZ. When are you available? This is my salary expectations. Because you've done your research, you're not just asking for the world. You know what you need. You're going to rehearse. You're going to rehearse. Okay, you need to show up for a phone interview. Have your phone turned on. Expect spam calls, right? During this time, someone's going to call you. And if it's a spam call, say, hey, I'm expecting a call, hang up, boom. And wait for that phone interview to come in. Show up. Be ready and show up and follow up. Once you do the phone interview, follow up. And there's nothing wrong with asking, am I still in the running? And they should give you an answer, yes or no. If they ignore you or they don't respond to you, the question you need to ask yourself, is that really a company I want to work for? If they're going to ignore me when I ask a very simple question of, am I still in the running for this position? It's a yes or no question. They just have to look and say, you know what, you've been eliminated for any reason, or you're still in the running. You're in our top 5. You're in our top 3. You're in our top 1 between you and another person. And it's good. That's good to go. There's nothing wrong with getting that kind of information. And if they're not responding to you, okay, that's an indicator of the kind of culture, the kind of values that company has. Do you really want to work for a company that won't respond to a simple question? Right? Fair enough? So follow up. Ask the questions. Ask the questions. And make sure we apply. Okay, again, we're starting to apply, continuing to apply, getting these phone interviews, getting these in-person interviews. Now we are 30 days out. 30 days out, going to job fairs. Continue to go to job fairs. Starting to do in-person interviews. Going that next level. Getting offers. Starting to evaluate those offers. Remembering your goal. Salary, job, location. Salary, job, location. Reality starts to set in. What do I mean by this? You had grandiose ideas of all the jobs you were going to get when you got out of the service. You're going to be the CEO of this, CFO, COO, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Executive Officer, all this. And really, now you got to start somewhere else. You're going to start to see what's really out there and what fits my job set. What salary expectations are realistic? Okay, if you're going for these companies, you should start to get offers and start to see the kind of levels that they're offering you. What kind of reality starts to set in? Locations. Can I really expect to live in my hometown and have this kind of job at this company? Or do I need to go other places? You need to start to adjust your expectations to reality. Now, I don't mean lower your goal. Instead, we want to temper our understanding of what our goal is and to get to there. Because now maybe, well, I've got to take a job starting at an entry-level position and then ask, if I start an entry-level position, when can I expect to be at this level? Well, you're going to have to work here for a year, prove yourself, and then going to go to this position and then go to that position and then move your way up. There's a plan versus, well, you guys get started and we'll figure it out. That's not a plan. That's hope, and we don't deal in hope. We want a plan. All right, you have time. Focus on your goals, okay, and start to focus on your foundation. Focus on the long term. Remember our foundation: purpose, values, assets. What is my purpose after the service? Remember that foundation and my long-term goal to achieve that purpose. Now I'm using terms like purpose, okay, and what you want to have after life. Okay, where do you want to go? When I counsel my kids on life, what's going on, I start with, well, how do you want to live? Well, I want to be a surfer and drive around in a van and just live on the beach for the rest of my life. Okay, That's fine. To do that, what kind of job do you need to have? Because it takes money to pay for gas and insurance, to get new surfboards, if you're going to live in your van, that's fine, but you got to have food, you got to have money to pay for that. How are you going to get money to do that? What's your plan, right? So start with your purpose and the life you want to have after the service, and what does it take to achieve that? And then once you get there, you know it because you've identified it. Once you've identified it and you've achieved it, then you need to reassess and do a new set of goals, right? Don't just say, okay, and that's another thing I tell my kids. Fear of goal accomplishment. What do you do once you've accomplished your goals? And then you're sitting there going, now what, right? Now what? Okay, you want to have a plan. You need to have a plan. Don't sit there and wait for people to give you anything, because what I can tell you without a doubt, nobody cares you were in the service. That's a hard reality. They appreciate your service, but right now it's about business. It's all about what value do you add to this business, and when you don't add value, you're no longer valuable and you are moved on. You are cut. Okay? That's why you always try to add value, give more value than what you paid for, keep building and building and building for the long-term goal. Because it doesn't matter you have 20 years experience if your experience doesn't translate into what I need for my company. Okay, it does not matter what experience you have if your experience does not translate into value for my company. Then as my company grows, we assess your value inside that company and retain you, or we replace you. Always adding value, always having goals, always doing training, always getting smarter, always getting smarter, always getting smarter, adding value, always adding value. Okay, your experience helps you add more value, but you have to translate that experience into something they understand. If they don't understand what you did, it can't help you. So focus on your foundation, focus on the long term. Track your offers. Is it going to lead to a career path? What's the long-term career path? Entry level, medium, mid-level, executive level, working my way up. Start as a buyer, manager, director, vice president, president, CEO. Hey, Randy, you're in supply chain management. I can't be a CEO. Looking at the world in the last 3 years with the pandemic and everything else, the supply chain has become a focus of business. They need CEOs that understand the supply chain. Sales are one thing. You got to have sales. The old talk that most CEOs have a sales background, so you can get a background in sales, and the first sales job is to sell yourself. Okay, but then how do you manage delivery of those sales? Okay, so CEO, COO, sales, supply chain, sales, supply chain. Finance is always CFO. Okay, sometimes the finance guy has the supply chain under them because they have a focus on expenses. But if you have a focus on operations, it's going to fall on the operations side. So again, the job, career path, where are you headed? Where are you headed? First steps. And the companies you're talking to should be able to articulate this for you. And the people you're interviewing with should be able to tell you, hey, you're a director. How'd you become a director? What did it take? Well, I've been in supply chain for 30 years. And it took me 20 years before I ever got to the director level. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But what steps did you take over those 20 years? Because once you identify the steps, the model to become a director, vice president, then you can identify those steps and where they need to be. And when you hit those steps, you always have the next step, the next step. So what are the first steps, next steps, and working your way down the path? Now we're at 2 weeks out, J15. By now you should start to accept some offers, right? Evaluating offers and accepting them, okay? Evaluating for your goal, job, location, salary. Is it meeting my goal? Is it achieving my foundation that I can build a career after the service? And are they part of the first steps to get to the next level? And then you need to, of course, accept. Okay, so we're going to evaluate, getting the first steps. First steps are going to get you to the path and work your way up. And then, of course, you want to accept. So evaluate based on your goal, achieving your foundation, getting started on that career path, and then accept the position. You're 2 weeks out. So you're 2 weeks out, right? Okay. Remember, okay, and here's another lesson. All right. those companies are hiring you for value. At the same time, you're evaluating these companies for value. So you have a job offer. You accept a job offer at company A. Company B, you still haven't started yet. Company B then makes you another offer. It's better than company A. Do you take company A because they offered it first? Or do you seriously consider B and talk to company A and say, hey, I got a better offer? Talking to, right? Communication. I got a better offer, company B. Is this something that you can work with? And they may say, you know what? That's a great job offer. You should take it. Okay. And, or, you know, it's a great start. Whatever it is, they should give you honest feedback because you're transitioning out, right? You have served your country. Now you're asking for service from the country that you served. And that service at this point is just advice and moving on out. So ask company A, company B is a better offer. Hey, company A, is this a good offer compared to you? How did you compare to this? And they say, nope, get out of here. That tells you about the culture and the values, right? Do you really want to work there? Maybe not. Versus a company A that says, you know what, let's talk about your career path after the service. Let's look at both these offers. I'll be happy to give you 15-20 minutes and let's talk about it so you can make the right decision for you. I'm going to give back to my service members because they served me in protecting my country while I was gone. So I'm going to help you get to that next level, and they're going to be able to talk to you about it. They should make time for you. You gave them 4, 20, whatever, 30 years. Now you're just asking for 20 minutes. And if they won't give you 20 minutes, is that really a company you want to work for? And I say that a couple of times. You've heard that throughout the video. Is that really a company you want to work for? Because it's going to be about values. The reason we're in the service, the reason we go to battle is for our buddies and our friends. We went to serve our country, but we fight for our friends, for our buddies, for our fellow soldiers, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. We all fight together for each other. And that's what you're doing now. You're going to join a company, and your leaders, do they have the values that you like, that you want to be part of? If they're short, not friendly, not giving you good advice, not giving you a path, then they're using you to get what they need, right? Versus a culture of service where they understand exchange of value. You're going to give a lot of value. They're going to give you a lot of value. And this is a good first test. So now you need to evaluate those offers. Company A, company B, and maybe even company C. And I don't mean be manipulative in this aspect. Say, well, company B offered me a higher salary. Company A, can you meet it? Go at it from a point of view of learning. Okay, hey, company A, company B gave me a better offer. I think is a better offer. Can you explain it? Can you help me make a decision? Company B, hey, I'm talking to company A. They gave me this offer. How does this work with you? And you're smart enough to be able to evaluate the differences. All right, and company C, and then talk to people. Okay, talk to the career counselors or the career coaches at supplychainmanagement.jobs. Talk to those folks. Okay, they'll be glad to help you and help you evaluate. You know, connect with me. Go into send me an email. Go to supplychainmanagement.jobs, shoot me an email, contact form, say, hey, I got a few offers, I'd like to talk to you about it, a career assessment, which we do for free, about 15 minutes for free. And just let me know, and I'll be happy to say, look at all these different things. And I'll just give you an example of that. I was speaking with one of the folks in our program, and he was offered a director level. Now, he's a young man. He does not feel that he's ready for a director level. He doesn't have the necessary experience. And I said, well, they're offering you that position for some reason. Now, how does that fit in your career path? Why do you need to wait 20 years to be a director when everyone else waited for 20 years? And right now you have it right here at age of 30 and they're offering you a director level. Go for it. You need to take it and let them take it. Okay. So that's part of what we do at our career counseling. I can give you the realistic expectations of what you want to do and where you want to go and kind of lay that out for you. So go to supplychainmanagement.jobs and you can put it in the contact form. Be happy to chat with you about your career opportunities as you're evaluating these different offers. Okay, that's 2 weeks out. Okay, 2 weeks out. Now you're about 5 days out. You've accepted the offer. You're getting ready to get started. You want to confirm that, yes, I am going to start in next week. You want to make sure your start date is clear, what you're going to do, where you're going to go, what's check-in location, what do I need to bring, okay, what prior paperwork can I do before I show up, have it filled out, ready to go. And of course, you want to make sure the dress code is clear. You want to make sure that you are dressed for a first impression. At the same time, you are practical. If you're checking in for a warehouse job, showing up in a three-piece suit just is nice. You've got a first impression, but when you start throwing boxes, you're going to mess up that three-piece suit. And then to say, well, you know what, I showed up for my first day where I need an hour to go back and change. Just make a phone call. Hey, John, getting ready to start, next week. What's going to be, what should I expect the first day? Well, make sure you show up in clothes ready to work. We're going to put you in the warehouse. Now, clothes ready to work in a warehouse. New pants, new shirt, safety boots, right? Or you're going to show up and you're going to go in the office and you're going to be sitting in a chair all day. Great. You're going to show up. You're going to be interviewing people, talking to people. That whole first day should be planned out for you, right? And if it's not, ask questions. There's no reason not to know. Okay, now you're 3 days out. This is when you want to check your appearance, shave, haircut, location, where do I check in, expectations, and then do an attitude check. What do I mean by an attitude check? Going in, first day, I've served this country for 20 years, 4 years, doing this thing, that thing, all over the world, doing things you can only imagine. Even the movies don't tell you what it's really like. And you owe me. Wrong. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything, despite the fact that you've served the country for 4, 20, 30 years, whatever it may be. Nobody owes you anything. At this point, you transition out. It's about adding value. Adding value. So check your attitude. Don't go in there like you owe me. Go in there like I'm here to serve and add value to this company. I'm going to ask questions and I'm going to give my value wherever I see there an opportunity to give that value. So have that attitude check. Now it's the first day. Arrive early, of course. Make sure you do that attitude check. I'm here to serve and add value. I'm here to serve and add value. Okay. And once you've done that attitude check, be friendly. Don't go in there overbearing and smile. Okay, get that smile, get that handshake out there. Be friendly, talk to people, ask questions, and then listen, and listen. Okay, ask lots of questions and listen. Looking at these folks, is this a place I want to be? Are they going to add value to my life? And am I going to be able to add value here? Looking for ways to add value. Ask questions and listen. Yes, you have a lot of experience. People want to talk to you about that experience, but this is not the time. You're here to learn about the company, learn about your job, do something different, and make a difference at this company and add value. Because this is the first step and the next step to your career that you're getting ready to start. So this is where, and this whole thing, to be in the service, this is your first job. This first job is going to dictate the rest of the jobs after the service. How well you do here, the experiences you have, the value, the results you achieve will then allow you more opportunities within that company as well as beyond. Okay, so ask questions, listen, and listen. All right, so that's the plan. Okay, over this video, we've been sharing with you the specific steps you need to take as you transition out of the military service, transitioning from the Army. We have several videos out there. Make sure you take a look at those videos. There's a playlist up here that you can click and it'll give you all these videos and lay them out for you and let you know exactly what you need to do as you're transitioning out of the service. Okay, very specific action plan. When I was looking at doing research, I didn't really see any how-tos out there. I saw a lot of personal experiences and this is what I did, this is what I did, blah, 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 but no specific, this is what you need to do step by step by step by step by step. And this is what we wanted to give you here. If you like this video and had value, please like it, subscribe, and click the bell to get notified of future videos. And most importantly, share this with your teammates. Okay, give them the opportunity to learn this same information, and maybe you guys can work together and collaborate on certain things as you're building your resumes. Okay, as you're putting on your social media profiles, start to connect with each other, because if I have 5 friends and you have 5 friends, if we connect, now we have 10 friends, and it starts to grow and grow and grow, and you're growing with friends that have the same values, same experience as you, and they will eventually lead to where you need to go. Okay, so with that, look for the other videos that are coming out there. Check out the video on building a foundation, setting your #1 goal. I would say those are the first 2 videos you want to look at. They're over here. Then you can note those videos, setting the foundation and setting up your #1 goal, and that will help you build this foundation to transition out of the service.